I died. And I have an extreme recollection of exactly how it happened. I could see the operating team working on me. I could see my vital signs absent, and up to the spirit dimensions I went. And they gave me the choice on coming back to the physical world or staying in the spirit dimensions. And the first event, I was 19 minutes vital signs absent. And the second one was 16 minutes vital signs absent. So it was quite a profound experience.
Hi my angels, it's Hailey Reese, and today's video is absolutely extra special because I am joined, finally, by the beautiful, incredible Lana. Lana is one of my very good friends, you guys, and not only that, she is the most gifted medium, all of the above that you could imagine to do with the spiritual side of life, and she has one of the most incredible stories that I have ever heard when it comes to the other side. And so today I thought that I would introduce you guys to Lana because we are going to be filming a ton of content for you guys, and it just felt right to start out by introducing you and having you share your story. So if you want to kind of tell them who you are and how you came to be, I know that they're dying to hear it.
Well, thank you so much for having me, number one. It has really been just such a pleasure and an honor to just kind of get to know you and spend some time with you. And we have the most amazing conversations about spirits.
Oh, we could talk for hours.
And we do. We just have amazing time. I'm a medium, a psychic medium from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. And I've been working in the spirit dimensions pretty much my whole life. But not always wide open about it. I did spend quite a few years kind of quiet in the background. A little bit of fear, you know, there's that, what if they think I'm crazy aspect to it. And my story starts off as a young girl being able to play with angels and see things and spirit animals. And for the longest time, I just thought everybody did. And as I got a little older, it came into my awareness that no, this is something very unique. But the fear was kind of around me quite a bit on what would people think and would I be accepted and what if I need medication?
Yeah, it's true.
That has come up. What if I need medication? So what I did is I went into nursing. I got my nursing, and I spent a lot of years in nursing. Why? Because there are dead people there, and there are spirit there.
You felt comfortable.
I felt comfortable there, and I had a wonderful nursing career. And in the background, I did my readings and kind of very quietly. If you knew me, you knew what I did, and if you didn't really know me, I just kind of shied back from it. But what happened, Hailey, is I had an amazing experience with my own death. I went to work one day, I wasn't feeling well, and a long story short, I collapsed on the floor with an abdomen full of blood. Emergency surgery is where I went, and I hemorrhaged out on the operating room table. And I died. And I have an extreme recollection of exactly how it happened. It's very much similar to other near-death experiences. Up out of my body I went. I could see the operating team working on me. I could see my vital signs absent, and up to the spirit dimensions I went. And I was very excited. And I was so happy. It's really funny to kind of explain that because, you know, I have a very good life here in the physical world, yet I was so happy to be in the spirit dimensions. And when I arrived there, I was greeted by my grandmother, who was sat at a lovely bistro table, kind of waiting for me. And it was kind of how it felt. And I was very close to my grandmother in the physical world when she was here. She was a part of my upbringing. She was very much connected to spirit herself, real nature lady, and very dear to my heart. But she sat me down and she explained to me, you're not supposed to be here. You're not meant to come yet. And you have to go back. And a part of me was like so disappointed. It was like, but it's amazing. The spirit dimensions are absolutely incredible. But she said to me as I was preparing to come back into my body, she said, I have a little gift for you. And as you're coming back into your body, I want you to open up this box. And she handed me a little box of light. And I remember coming back into my body and opening up that light.
Right.
And as I opened up that light, I became aware of the room around me again. I could hear my heart rate on the monitor, and I knew I was back in the physical world. And that experience, I didn't quite understand until several weeks later. And as I was recovering, I realized that I could see the spirit dimensions. I can see them as lanes, as highways. That box of light that she gave me was light into those dimensions. Wow. And it really kind of brought me into a whole new world with spirit, because literally the highways were there. into many different dimensions, because there's more than just one dimension.
Yeah.
So it was light to see in all those dimensions. And I slowly started coming out a little bit. I slowly got more comfortable with saying what I did. But it wasn't quite enough. It wasn't quite enough, because a couple of years later, history repeated itself. And again, an emergency surgery. And up I went. And this time I knew the way, so I was pretty sure I wasn't coming back. But I was greeted with by 3 angels up in the spirit dimensions, who asked me a really important question. They asked me how much I trusted them, and how much I trust the angelic realms and spirit themselves. And they gave me the choice on coming back to the physical world or staying in the spirit dimensions. And my first response was, I'm happy to be here. I'm so excited to be here. I'm not going back. But they showed me something. There was something in my physical life that I had been struggling with that meant a lot to me. And they promised me something if I came back. So I trusted them. And came back into my body, and it was that experience with trust that I just embraced all of who I am, and I literally said, here I am, I see dead people. I actually reviewed my resuscitation records from both of those events, and within my medical records, and the first event, I was 19 minutes vital signs absent, and the second one was 16 minutes vital signs absent. So it was quite a profound experience to have, and I think that was a real pivoting point for me, because I understood spirit. I understood what happens. I understood the process a little bit more, and I do have such clear recollection. I can tell you the finest details of what it's like to be up there, and one of the main things that that I remember is the peace and the love. It was just like so unconditional, something that I've never felt before in this physical world. And it also gave me an understanding about what I do and what I see. And I think it was that clencher for me of you know what, you're not nuts.
It's so true though, because most
it's
people on this channel who will comment their experiences, a lot of them say that they either thought that they were crazy, or they thought that what they were seeing wasn't really what they were seeing. And a lot of them have had family members or people around them who make them feel as though they need to get themselves in check, because there's no way that could be an experience. So it must be so validating for you to know that there truly is more.
100%. And it also was a big starting point with my learning with my mediumship.
Right.
And my mediumship, in my beginning years, wasn't where it is now.
Yeah.
And I think that experience kind of gave me a deeper understanding and a deeper trust to keep learning from spirit.
Yeah.
And to keep working with spirit, because it was just absolutely so profound and amazing. And I think that for me was the biggest. I used to have a video camera that used to play when I did my readings before this event.
Yeah.
And once that event happened, that video camera, that camcorder of a reading disappeared. I no longer needed it.
Really?
Yeah. So I used to look at you, Hailey, when
Yeah.
I was going to read you, and there'd be a movie playing from the spirit dimensions behind you.
Oh, so you mean a spiritual
Yeah,
movie
spiritual
camera?
movie camera.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I thought for a minute you had
No.
a camera you were recording and
No.
like it disappeared.
No, so when before this event, there'd be
Right.
a spiritual movie camera showing me your life story and little
Right.
bits and pieces about you.
That's neat.
It is neat. I miss it, but
Yeah. They're like, you've evolved.
you've evolved. But that was part of my early years in mediumship. But
So afterwards, it was almost as though you had such a stronger connection to the other side that you didn't necessarily need to be shown that. You were just given the knowledge that you...
And it's because I can
required.
see the dimensions. So if I'm working with the angelic realms, I can see the angelic lanes. So they come to me like lanes. We have
Okay.
the physical world, angelic realms, your dead folks, and it goes all in different dimensions.
Right.
So it's almost like, because they don't have a body, they can easily come back and forth.
Right.
Because I do have a body, it's a little bit harder for me to kind of get into the spirit dimensions. But with that experience and that box of light, it's literally over I go. I disconnect from the physical world.
So when you see somebody, you know how they say like certain people are more connected to the angelic realms, others may be connected to elementals, things of that nature. Can you see which realm they connect with closer if somebody has a connection with that when you look at someone?
Yep, quite often, absolutely. So when I do any of the channeling of spirit guides, quite often it's, spirit animals that come through, or the angelic realms, or the elementals.
Right.
So I may see a fairy on someone's shoulder. And usually when we speak about it, they're like, oh my gosh, Lana, I love fairies, you have no idea. or I am such an animal lover, and I
Yeah.
see a spirit animal, as a wolf, and they'll usually say, I collect wolf, wolf.
That's fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I can attest to that, because when I first met Lana and she was reading me, you said that one of my spirit guides almost gave an appearance of a little pixie. Like, she was very tiny and very fairy-like and pixie-like. And I said, oh my gosh, that's crazy you say that, because I've been obsessed with fairies and all the elementals since I was little. So
Yeah,
it is
incredible. It's incredible because we do have an awareness of them. Quite often we can feel them. We just don't understand why we connect or resonate with something that's so powerful.
Yeah.
And it's because at a higher level, your higher self or your inner being knows they're there.
See, and that's the thing that I always think about is so many people become, as they get older, they pull up their spiritual egos and they think, oh, there's no way that fairies are real. There's no way that gnomes are real, or that there's pixies or angels or anything like that. But your higher self deep down knows.
Your higher self knows. And that's because we're programmed what's real and what's not real.
Right.
So if you can kind of put down the programming and just stay open to, what if, Hailey, there's magic out there? What if?
Yeah.
And if you can just kind of open yourself to just that possibility, there is so much magic that you'll witness.
It's so true. And there was something else I wanted you to talk about too that blew my mind when we were having one of our spiritual conversations, was when you went up and you recognized that there was like a spirit board of people, of spirits and your higher angels and stuff that sit there and kind of review your life when your time comes. Can you talk a little bit about what that is?
So your spirit council.
Spirit council, that's what it is.
Spirit council. So we all have a spirit council.
Right.
And this is a team of guardian angels, higher ascended masters, spirit animals. It can come from any level of the spirit dimensions.
Right.
They're not our deceased loved ones, though. Yes, our deceased loved ones are looking over us, but they're not on this panel. This panel is kind of put together when we agree to come into the physical world. So before we even arrive, we have this panel. And on that panel, I call them specialists, your life specialists.
Right.
And sometimes as you go through your journey, you may have one angel or one guardian angel that's with you your entire time. But as you make choices and go through your stuff, sometimes you need a specialist. And a different panel member will come forward from that panel. So, perhaps you're struggling with grief or with direction. There's somebody on your panel that's got a specialty in supporting you through that.
And they can ask these people to come forward at any given point in time.
And you don't need to know their names. You don't need to know. You just simply need to ask. The angelic realms are here for us, but they don't tend to interfere.
Right.
But because we have choice and free will.
Right.
And if you kind of look at like your best friend just put her nose or his nose into your business, you'd be like, I didn't ask for help.
Yeah.
The angelic realms are so open to help you. You just have to lean in a little bit and say, you know what, I'm really struggling. Can you give me a hand? I sit with my spirit panel every single day. I don't make major decisions without taking it to spirit.
Yeah.
And when I passed, I got to sit with my spirit panel in my own life review. So I got to sit there and kind of watch my life like a movie. And see, things that were going glorious and things that I still needed some practice on.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask you. So, the expression, your life flashes before your eyes, or people will say, I started seeing all my memories coming. People who have had experiences like that with yours. Do you see all of the good, the bad, the ugly, and do you feel regretful when you're in that realm?
Absolutely. So you get to view it, but you also get to feel it.
Right.
So, you do get to feel, and some of that, people talk, a big word is karma. Some of that, there's good karma and bad karma too, but some of that you have to feeling that back, but it's not done in a painful way.
Right.
It's like, here are the lessons that you still need to learn,
right,
or still need to work on. And this is how those lessons impact you or other people. It's done in a very loving way. It's not done in a way that's terrible or hard.
Right.
Because when I watched my own life review, it was very much done in a teaching way.
Right. It's almost as if to say, because when you do have multiple lives, you're going in knowing that you're going to learn a lesson in a space that maybe you lacked in your previous life. It's almost like carrying that with your soul to say, next time around, I hope that I can learn and heal those traumas.
Absolutely. Because we do have lessons that we have to learn in order for our soul to evolve.
Right.
And if we didn't get it this time around, you're coming back.
Yeah.
and that's the whole past life and future life stories. But it's, you do have to certain lessons for your soul to evolve.
Yeah, and when you went up there and you had your spirit council and you were kind of reviewing your life, did you feel as though there was any judgment in the way that you lived your life from any of them, or was it just this was your journey, this was your story, welcome back?
I felt very supported.
Okay.
I felt very supported. It's even though it felt, you kind of look around and you got this panel. It almost feels like a bit of a mini court, but I felt very supported. It was
right.
Lana. Here's what you agreed to do, and some of it was like, oh, I understand that now. I agreed to certain lessons because we do. We agree to come here with certain people to learn certain lessons,
right.
and sometimes we don't get it, and we have to come back in another lifetime. I was fortunate enough to get a chance to come to look at it and come back in. And a big part of what I was shown was my mediumship. It was your you need to live from yourself. You need to be you, and that was one of the biggest things when I was shown over and over again was that you're not serving yourself by trying to fill expectations that you don't want to.
It was almost like divine intervention, literally, where they're like, hey, Lana has so much to do with her gift on earth. If she continues to live in a way where she's suppressing it and hiding it, there are souls that need that healing that will receive it.
Absolutely. And it was amazing. Once I stood up and said, my name is Lana and I'm a medium and I work with dead people, it was instant change in my life. It was instant. It was just amazing things were happening, and I was growing with my mediumship in ways that I had no idea that I was even going to go in, and it was just all these possibilities of were right in front of me, and I just had such a deeper understanding of my mediumship, who I am as a person, and it's okay if not everyone likes me.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we all have to learn in one way or another when we're here on earth is you're never going to please everybody, and people are put in your lives, even if it's just a bad interaction that you have with someone, that might have been divine timing for you to take something from that your soul has to learn.
Absolutely. Life lessons. It's just so powerful when you embrace them that way. I always say, Hailey, there's no mistakes.
Yeah, she tells me that all the time.
There's no mistakes, Hailey.
Yeah.
It's just learning. And that's how spirit sees it too. When it comes to our struggles and, we touched it and it was hot and we touched it again and it was hot. It's just learning. You're learning when not to touch something.
Yeah, maybe you won't want to repeat that. I actually posted the other day saying mistakes are only mistakes if you continue repeating them knowing that was a quote-unquote mistake or a lesson.
Absolutely, 100%. And Spirit does love us so much when it comes to our learning and our support. But they do have a little bit of a firmness with them too. Especially with me, they'll be like, "Oh no, we said no, and it's a no," and it's just so good to live life from that point of alignment of learning.
And there was one more thing I wanted to touch on in this realm of your near-death experience or your actual death experience, is that we talked about this early on in our conversations, and it's something I think that's so fascinating they'd love to know about is what happens to the souls who have done more harm than good on earth when they pass. They don't necessarily go up to their spirit council and suddenly review their life and move on. What is the healing that has to take place there?
So what happens is souls, there's a few things, and this is a very good topic. This is a great question, Hailey, thank you. So our souls come here on a journey. So we're up in the spirit realms and we pick a journey. I'll take that one. I'll be the medium. We pick our lessons. And we're handed a journey that has lessons. And then choice and free will.
Right.
Is not everything is been outlined by the spirit dimensions. Choice, and we come here full of choice and free will. And spirit can either guide us, we can take that or we can leave that. Right? When we return to the physical world, if I did some horrible things in my lifetime, and when I die and my soul goes over to the spirit realm, I do have to go into a place of learning, because I have taken this question with the spirit. People who have heard other people.
Yeah.
I've taken this. Like how do I understand this? Their soul, some of it wasn't what was engraved in the lesson. It was choice and free will, and they return to the spirit dimensions, and they kind of have to go back into almost like a spirit boot camp,
right,
if you will, where their soul has to go through some learning. There are some experiences to help them understand the impact of what they did here in the physical world, and their soul gets to heal. Now, there's no time attached to that, because time is physical world created. There's no time in the spirit dimensions. So it may be, in our translation, it may be 2,000 years before they come back for our body, into a body and have another experience, because there's no timing up there.
Right.
So it may take them a long time to do their soul's work and to evolve. It's almost like they go back to school.
Right. They have to learn the lessons that they clearly didn't learn here, and they can't move forward until those things are healed.
There's no darkness in as far as, you're held in this dark space. You're held in a space for learning, and you're held in a space for healing, and you're held in a space to understand the choices that you did, because the choice and free will part is the part that you're going to have to look at real hard.
Absolutely, because how could you be given another lifetime where you have that same free will if you haven't healed those evil or dark parts of your soul, right?
And sometimes next lifetimes, I have done regressions on people who were horrible people in previous lifetimes, and the experiences that they're having in this lifetime, it's almost like it's kind of reversed. Only milder, because we have evolved. We're not as aggressive as let's say Neanderthal, or there are some parts of history where it was brutal, but they have had struggle with people very, very similar to what they were seeing in their regressions.
So like what they did, they had done onto them in order to maybe heal that cycle of this is how it feels to be on the receiving end of this.
So part of that is is all part in mix, I believe, as well, with the whole past life experience. Sometimes our soul kind of gets a deeper understanding through a lifetime experiencing the opposite.
Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to touch on just to conclude this video. We have tons of videos coming for you guys. This is just the beginning. So, but I wanted to ask, just if you could describe the feeling of when you went to heaven, so to speak, when you went there, what was the feeling? I know it's probably indescribable, but if you could try to relay that to people watching, what is it like to cross on and be there for those who may fear dying or have loved ones who have passed?
It's a great question, and I can do a fairly good job giving you a little bit of an insight.
I'm sure you've had to a million times.
I can kind of explain it best I can.
Yeah.
Number one, there's no pain. Even though my physical body was hemorrhaging out on an operating room table, and there were tubes and wires, and there was a lot of pain going into the surgery, but there was no pain when I was leaving my body. It was extremely peaceful, and it was extremely elevating, and it was literally like watching a scene from an upper point of view with just peace. It was pure peace and pure acceptance. And one thing that comes up a lot is when we pass, nobody passes alone. Somebody always comes to get you, whether it be a family member, whether it be an angel or a guide or an animal that you were close to. You don't cross alone. And when you arrive there, it's almost literally like you close your physical eyes and you open up your spiritual eyes, and you're over. Like you're in the spirit dimensions, and there's an absolute incredible brightness to it. People talk about the light. It's very much bright, and you don't have, and I was aware I didn't have a physical body. I looked down, I'm like, I don't have any feet.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you floating?
You just have this presence. You have this awareness. You have this, you just have this awareness.
Did you miss, because your husband was still down on earth, and you would be aware of that. Did you have a feeling of missing your loved ones on earth, or was it just peace?
No, it was, I remember, funny, Hailey, thanks for backtracking that story up a little bit, because I remember looking back and saying, bye, honey. He worked in the hospital that I was having this emergency surgery in, so I could see him outside the operating room. It's been nice.
That's my favorite part.
You do. I had no issue. Like, there was nothing that was holding me back. I was very much, and I have a great life. It's not like I had a bad life. I was in a bad space. I was in a very good space. But there was just this. I know I'm coming home. I knew this was an incredible journey back, and the unconditionalness. I keep having to go back to that word. There's no word to describe what true unconditional love feels like, and I think we don't truly experience that in the physical world the way it is in the spirit dimensions. It was the most extreme power.
Right.
And the vibration was like something, the pitch, I've never heard that pitch since, since that physical moment of being there. The beautiful pitch
Right.
of the spirit dimensions.
And do you believe it's just the all-knowing, once your soul has evolved on, that you will see the soul of your husband again, that these people are living their lives and then their time will come to join?
100%. But remember, and dead people tell me this all the time, they always say, we're not gone.
Right.
Like, we're truly not gone. Our physical body is, and I always say to dead people, well, living people struggle with that because they can't see you.
Yeah.
But I knew that I was still very much present. Like, I just had this knowing that I wasn't missing anything.
Right.
Right? Because they do come in from the spirit dimensions into this physical world all the time. Like,
yeah.
It's profound. And there was a lot of excitement, and I even get really excited talking about it.
Yeah.
I get really excited with the energy of what's over there. And your soul does know, your soul knows where you're going. It's your brain and our programming in our physical lifetime that interrupts that.
Right. It's so true, and it's so easy to get caught up in what we think life is going to be. And since meeting Lana, my life has completely shifted, because I was even stagnant and struggling, and it's interesting how we connected at a time where I needed that reminder of, I am a spiritual being having an earthly experience. These day-to-day problems are not going to exist forever, so all I can do is try to believe that I'm being guided and uplifted and supported, not just here in this physical realm, but on the other side as well. I think I'm going to conclude this video here because I have so many questions for the Q&A that we're going to do with her, questions that you guys have sent in and asked, and questions that I've had that I think you guys would love to hear. So I want to save those for that. But thank you for joining me in this video.
Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure. And I'm so looking forward to some fun we're going to have.
Oh yeah, we're going to go on some investigations. So if there's anywhere in Ontario, Canada that you guys want us to go and investigate and have an actual medium share what she sees and experiences, let us know where you want us to go. We have a few places planned already, but we'd love to hear where you guys want to see us head. And that is it for this video. If you guys are not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and stay tuned because we have a ton of content coming. Bye guys!